Hello goblins, it's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. It's an episode of this week's Pipes. This week I've mainly been watching The Devil's Plan Season 2. They dropped the last 4 episodes on Tuesday, I think. And we just came through those. In fact, we've just been watching them all pretty much as they come out, which is a bit of a feat because it's 12 episodes and each episode is like an hour to an hour and a half, something like that. Really good fun, great game show. The games themselves can be somewhat mind-boggling. There tends to be a lot of math involved. But obviously the main thing is just watching the people trying to survive. I would say that not quite as good a mix of characters, because they're characters, aren't they, in a TV show. Last time there was at least a couple of like clowns in the group, and there wasn't really in this one. A couple of like really great players, but not a lot of fun personalities. But anyway, still a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. And by we, I mean me and Wolf. So there we go. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to be reviewing a tobacco. But before that, I'm going to have a look at this week's pipes. Why not? It is a strawberry. I think I can even call it an Eldritch strawberry. In the chocolate sandblast. Quite detailed. See the ring grain. All the grain is quite closely packed on this pipe. Ring grain. This little foot. This guy has a earth and ivory stem, which you should be familiar with. Half saddle stem. And this guy, I don't know if you can tell from the outside, but this guy is fitted for 6mm filter. I fit for the Elephant brand. Don't know if you're familiar with those. So they are charcoal filters, unlike the there's an Italian brand where it's like triangle shaped balsa wood. So not a filter in the sense we normally think of them. I've always wondered at their exact function, the balsa wood style ones. It's like, what are they even doing there? I don't know. That pipe was a commission. This pipe is available. A sleek bulldog, but there's lots to say about this guy. So you must be by now, familiar with the sleek bulldog. It's a really low profile bulldog that I favour. There's just something about the low slung nature of it, this like subtle S curve. It's just a really nice just a really nice form. The shank tapers in from the width of the bowl down to the width of the stem. Got a couple of lines going on. It's probably one of the few pipes I do that has like these sort of distinct lines flowing around. We have our facets, so we have the facets of the pipe like come to the stem and then split down to the button. And the same on the reverse. The two facets on the shank meet at this point and then split down to the button. Now, this version, this is a new resin. It's in the new translucent range, and don't know if I'm going to be calling these vintage yet. But this is colour number 3 anyway. So you'll have seen the amethyst and you'll have seen the sea foam. I think that's what I'm calling the light blue. I'm not sure just yet. The amethyst is definitely amethyst. I think the light blue is either going to be sea foam or something else like that. But anyway, this is sepia. And it's really lovely. Like the others, it's translucent, and it's just, I wasn't sure what to expect when I was casting it. The concentrated pigment is very dark, and so you couldn't get a full idea of what was going to happen, especially with the detail colour. But it's all just, yeah, it's very nice. I've done a tan contrast ring on this guy. You can see the ring grain flowing around the bottom. The top is all bird's eye. So yeah, a new variation on a theme is available. Und then finally come out all in one go. He was a bit shy. A snail. Yes, I made a snail last week, and I thought, yes, all right, it's time for making snails again. So this is this week's one. If you haven't seen a snail before, where have you been? But also, let me tell you about it. So, it's a reverse calabash chamber. So, you can see the stem goes in so deep, maybe about 1 centimetre. And then there's a chamber at the bottom for the smoke to expand in. Loads of ring grain around the chamber. See the ring grain flowing up the bowl. A fluted foot with a plateau at the bottom. And then a kind of crazy bowl kind of like just an asymmetric S with then like a scooped rim coming out of the top. It's yeah. There's a lot going on. It's still a challenging pipe to make, but it's really unique. And the stem is the new amethyst resin. So I ummed and ahed about what colour to do the bowl. In the end, I thought black. It has to be black. It's the only thing. So there you go. Snail. All right, now, you probably know from the title of the video, but the tobacco I'm going to review is Cornell & Deal Steamworks. Red Virginia. It says Vintage Heirloom Orientals. And St. James Perique. So, I mean, I like the sound of everything in this. Yep. That's fruity. Not sure what the cut is. Oh, it's a flake. That's cool. Doesn't say it's a flake on the front. It kept that a hidden little secret. Let's see. Maybe broken flake is the best way, but you can see kind of coherent flakes there. A style that just makes you want to have a chew. Now I'm going to have to break that up a little bit. It's been exceedingly warm this week, which is really nice in the workshop. I've even occasionally had to take my hoodie off, and that doesn't happen very often. I don't know if you can hear, but there's the sounds of distant lawn mowing. All right. It's a really, like, it smells like port in the tin. It really does smell like a good port. That was the charring light. Hmm. Wowzers. Okay. Okay. Right. I was not going to mention the bit of tang on the nose. So I thought, why promise myself that when it seems unlikely to deliver? But actually, it does. Wow, okay, that's really interesting. If you know L.J. Peretti's number 8 slice, which is a sublime blend, if you don't know it, go out and get some right now. I'll wait for you while you go do that. It has really, the L.J. Peretti has that, like, quite a prominent tart, sour element to it. And whenever you smell that tart sour in a tin, now I always expect that sort of in the flavour. But you don't always get it. Sometimes it's an aroma in the tin and it just does not come through. On this, it does. Okay, but that's really interesting. So, like in this blend, I was really expecting, I was guessing that I was going to get a real Virginia funk, you know, that farmyard thing I go on about. The Virginias actually seem to have taken a back seat. It's really, it's like a smoky sour cherry, like not an aromatic, like a natural sour cherry. It feels quite oily. Despite that fruitiness, there's not a lot of sweetness, which is just fine by me. It's more of a herbal sour cherry. So even though, what's in, Okay. I think what's happened here is that the Orientals and the Virginias are like just in like a kind of harmonious balance, because you know that kind of the Oriental kind of incense quality, that kind of like just keeps popping its head up, but it doesn't stay above. It's not like the consistent note. So it's like waves of Oriental and Virginia. Virginia's must be given there. Quite toasty notes. Quite buttered toast notes rather than the hay. Funky hay, funky mushroom, if you know what I mean, of aged Virginias. So, my one-line review of this would be cherry jam on buttered toast. It's very nice. Very nice. And well behaved. Alright, that's lovely. I'm just getting into the groove of it now. I suppose that is when you're reviewing a tobacco, you've either, I did sort of hint at it last week, you've either got to like fill your boots with it and get really acquainted with it before you do a review. So you're giving like a fully formed, experienced review of a tobacco. But I feel like a lot of people already do that. And I quite like just discovering a tobacco as the review. Call it a first impressions, if you like. And I think I like that because if then you go out and go, oh, that sounds interesting, I'll buy it in, then your first experience will be more like, potentially, my first experience, rather than trying to marry your first experience with my, oh, I've been smoking this for 2 weeks and here's my opinion. Anyway, that's that. Next week, if possible, I'm going to try and get some footage of doing some resin casting. I've just remembered something else. I'm going to have to save that for next week. Next week, what I'm also going to do is a tips for new pipe makers or potential new pipe makers. I promised I would do that, and so I will do that next week. All right. And try and make some pipes in the meantime as well. Okay. So I should be back next week. Until then, take it very easy. The loyal pipe maker.